So, before we start, you want to hear 2 short jokes and a long joke?
Hold on, we didn't even start.
Oh, we didn't.
No.
We didn't. Go ahead.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of the Tent of Meeting.
Tent of Meeting.
I'm Seth.
Hi, I'm Adam.
And that's Adam.
Yep, still Adam.
How you doing, man?
I'm well. So,
Let's hear it.
do you want to hear 2 short, quick?
Hold on.
Hold on.
Yep.
Do you want to hear 2 short jokes and a long joke?
Yep.
Joke. That one's real bad. I'm sorry. I had two other ones that are like actual jokes.
Okay.
And one of them is more of a question. Do you think it's messed up that only one company makes the game Monopoly?
No, but it makes sense.
Because that's kind of the point, right?
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And the other one I have is my dog used to chase people on a bike. We had to take his bike away.
That's good. What do you call a British detective who accidentally solves a case?
What?
Sherlock Holmes.
I don't know what I was expecting from that.
That's why it's the best.
I was both surprised and let down at the same time.
Sherlock Holmes. So, we're here.
Hi.
Hope everybody's doing well.
I know I am.
You've got your coffee.
Yeah.
I've got my decaf because I can't have coffee this late.
It's the afternoon.
It's 5 o'clock. And I would be up until too late, and I have to work tomorrow. So
yeah, we had this whole thing last night where Kember woke us up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that we're past the whole like we're not saying our kids' names because we just straight up had all our kids on
the podcast. Yeah,
we're like, guess what? Now you know us.
Yep.
Because the first
us and our families.
Yeah, the first couple episodes we were like one of my kids.
Yeah.
No, it was Kember.
Yeah.
Kember woke up at 2 a.m.
Oh.
And was crying because one of our dogs, George, who was asleep and in his kennel, she had a nightmare that he was out and he was red. And she climbed into our bed and she was like, George is red and he's going to get me and I'm scared. And I was like, oh, that's not scary at all. Let's go put George away. Thinking that he was out and he was already put away. And I was like, oh, cool. She's having a night terror. Oh. And I came in and laid down. And as I was coming back in to lay down, she thought I was the dog jumping into the bed.
Oh, gosh.
So she was like, ah!
Did she watch Clifford yesterday?
No.
Huh.
No, I don't think so.
Maybe she did.
Maybe. I don't think he was a big red dog. I think he was just glowing red. Like she was mortified.
That's crazy.
It was cool. I'm glad that was over.
I'm trying to think if I have a good story from last night.
The Northern Lights were out.
I didn't see them.
I did.
I was sleeping.
Yeah.
I'd seen some guys post on Facebook about it, but
maybe I'll put some of my pictures on our Facebook.
You should do that.
Because my wife likes the Northern Lights, and every time that there might be some out, she's like, we're going outside and standing in the cold. I don't care.
I don't care if it's 15 degrees out. I'm going outside.
Yep. And me being a lovey husband.
You do it.
A lovey husband. That was fun. A loving husband is like, I'll stand out there with you, dear. And then I'm out there for like 10 minutes, and I'm like, all right, I'm done. I'm going in.
You're like,
and she's like, whatever, jerk.
This isn't that fun.
Yeah.
This cool. I've seen them before.
Yeah. I mean, if they were really bright and extravagant or something, great.
Like if you were like way up north.
Yeah.
Where they're like
into north.
Mesmerizing.
Yeah. And you can like see them clearly with the naked eye.
Yeah.
Most of the pictures that I showed you, you couldn't see most of that with the naked eye. You're like, I think it looks red and there's a white streak. And then you take a picture and it's like, ooh.
It's crazy.
Or whatever.
And then we saw the airplane.
Yeah, it's an airplane.
Yeah.
I was a little concerned.
Airplane.
It's an airplane.
Okay.
Because it is blinky and there was a streak and it's a 3-second delayed photograph.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I get it.
It's an alien.
Maybe it was
a demon.
I was gonna say.
They're all demons.
Yeah, that's that's what I thought.
Mm-hmm.
But
I like a lot of conspiracy theory like YouTube pages that are biblical.
Yeah.
There's one called Sling and Stone.
Pretty good.
Yeah, if you've never heard of Sling and Stone, check it out. It's It was a lot of fun. And sometimes you're like, wow, that's crazy. And other times you're like, you know what? That kind of makes sense. And
Sling and Stone.
yeah, Sling and Stone.
We'll put him in our. What episode is this? 14?
Is it?
15?
I stopped numbering my Word document that I
think it's 15.
It could be.
Maybe it's episode this one.
Episode today.
Episode this one.
Yeah. I don't know how long it takes for these to come out, but this is November 13th.
Sling and Stone.
Sling and Stone.
Sling and Stone.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's conspiracy theories?
Yeah, it's conspiracy. Everything's demons.
Yeah.
Or there's giants somewhere. Or the aliens are like the government talked about aliens and it's just demons.
Well,
he had someone on and they were like, no, I worked with the government and if you said Jesus' name, the aliens went away.
That's weird.
So, turns out there are demons. Apparently.
I mean, that's my understanding of it.
I wholeheartedly agree with it. We're off in the weeds on this one.
Yeah,
today,
there's no mention of like extraterrestrial in the Bible, but there is a mention of demons.
Yeah.
And then also like I think too like well, everybody, I hope you're ready for a little bit of conspiracy stuff.
Yes.
This was not planned.
No.
But also I think like when we see UAPs and stuff,
mm-hmm.
if you think about it like the seraphim and other angelic beings,
mm-hmm.
they're seen as like circles with eyes and stuff. I think that they're potentially what we're calling UAPs.
Yeah.
So like, or UFOs, whatever they're calling them nowadays.
Yeah.
But I think that's what those are because
I can see that.
We see how they're moving
mm-hmm.
and they don't move like things in this world.
Things. Yeah.
So I'm like, it can't be, but there's so many theories on it. Like some people think that.
And we know from a biblical perspective.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to look up where it is right now.
It is in, hold on. Don't say it yet.
I got to turn on my keyboard before
it lets me is type. In Ezekiel, or it's in Ezekiel, I believe. I'm probably wrong. With the eyes and the wheels of the eyes and the wings and all the things.
No, not quite that one.
What's you looking for?
Elisha's servant in 2 Kings.
Okay.
When the armies were surrounding them and Elisha asked his assistant asked God to let his assistant see the spirit realm.
Yeah.
The Lord, show him what's going on around us. And it's 2 Kings 6. And Elisha's servant's eyes are open and he sees everything blowing around him and all of the chariots of the Lord's army. And I think there's something interesting about the supernatural where we live in America and the supernatural is effectively kept at bay.
Yeah.
And there's nothing supernatural. It's all science. It's all real. And if it's anything other than that, you're schizophrenic and here's some drugs.
Quit wearing your tinfoil hat.
Yeah. And maybe I need a tinfoil hat. Maybe
I mean,
some of my friends listening might think that. But
I got mine out in the car. I made you one last week.
Yes.
So
I want a Batman cowl on mine.
Oh crap. I gotta go. I'll go fix it, everybody. Don't worry.
Been watching the X-Men movie with Caleb. X-Men movies with Caleb.
Don't watch First Class with Caleb.
I haven't seen it in years.
It's not appropriate.
No?
No, I started watching it with Carter and some things popped up and I'm like, because I don't have the filter.
I have the filter.
Well, hopefully it filters out.
Okay.
Some of the scenes in that.
Maybe we'll skip it.
Yeah, and it wasn't very good anyway, so.
Yeah. I don't remember it.
It was like the prelude to everything, but it was like filmed after, I think, or something like that. Because I was trying to watch it with Carter, and then it was just like we got to a certain scene, and I'm like, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah. Well, the very first lines are like, "Over a couple millennia, people evolve again," or something. And Caleb was like, "No,
liar!
You got it, kid."
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think we were created with a purpose, for a purpose.
By a creator.
By a creator.
Yes.
And I think we can make a pretty good archaeological claim to that.
I think so too. And I think that like our topic today is
Scripture.
And
archaeology, kind of.
Yeah. It's a continuation from last week.
Yeah.
Last week we kind of set this up.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. You'll have to go back and look at it because I deleted everything out of my text document about it.
Okay.
But if we set up the big parameters on variants and types of textual criticism, and then we got all the way to the part where we were going to start talking about the different types, the different classes of text and text criticism, right?
Yeah.
So there's 3 of them.
Okay.
There's the critical text theory, or it's called reasoned eclecticism.
Okay.
And then there's the majority text.
Yep.
And then there is
confessional.
Yes, the confessional position.
Or
King James only.
Textus Receptus only.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Those are it.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to make it to that one today.
No, we'll probably get through the 2.
Because there's a whole lot to unpack, and I got rid of a lot of the regular document to try to conserve time.
Yeah.
But the critical text is actually really interesting and how they got there.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know if I agree with every point of the critical text theory, but at the same time, I don't necessarily agree with all the points of all the other ones.
Yeah. Do you want to give like a short summary of
each one?
Of each of them?
Okay, so the critical text means they use a certain set of rules while looking at all of the manuscript data to bring us to what we think is as close as we can get to the autograph. Now, we'll get into those rules and who did it and everything like that. The majority text is almost there's several rules, but it's not quite like well, there's more of these than anything else, so this is what it is. But it's essentially a majority of the texts that we have say this, so this is what we think it says because there's the most of these.
Right. It's like a mathematical more equals right.
Yeah,
type thing.
There's a little more to it than like democracy, if you will. Yeah. Right. It's not just a majority vote gets it. But the last one, the confessional position says, okay, we have this one version that was given to us.
Yeah. And
we believe that God preserved this one.
Yeah.
And this one is right because we think so. There's
sounds pretty.
Yeah. It's called the received text, or Latin, the Textus Receptus.
Yeah.
And that's what the King James and the New King James is based off of.
Right.
Right. So we'll get into that probably next episode.
Okay.
But I don't want to spoil it. There's a lot to it, and there was a lot that I didn't know in the history of the Textus Receptus.
Yeah.
Because I've spent a lot of time on the internet listening to people debate, right? Like,
yeah,
I'm Textus Receptus only. Well, I'm not. Well, let's yell at each other for no reason instead of just being brothers in Christ.
There's a lot of that goes on.
And in reality, again, right? We talked about this last week.
Yeah.
1% is what we're arguing over. 1% of all of the data.
Yeah. It's a semi or something going through.
That was a good one.
Yeah, but 1% of the data.
1% of all of the manuscript. The 30,000 plus verses.
Yeah.
1%.
Mm-hmm.
Now, nothing of real note, right? We talked about the 3 things last week. The ending of Mark, the parenthesis of John, I think.
Yeah.
And that one spot where it added the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, I think. But it looks like that one was an addition later.
Yeah. Was it in John?
Yeah, the Johannine comma or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't remember.
I think it was in John.
But there's a couple of spots where it seems like it's a big deal, but in reality, I don't think it's as big of a deal as we think it is because there's no actual doctrine affected.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's not like one of those confusing spots says, Jesus is almost Lord, but not quite. And the other ones are like, no, he's real. Like, he's God. It's nothing like that. It's little stuff.
Yeah. It was the Johannine comma.
Yeah.
It was 1 John 5:7-8. So, yeah.
So that's the part that we need to make really clear. But it's really important that we have the understanding of how we have the Bible that we have.
Yeah.
Because I spent the first several years of my walk with Christ not knowing and just kind of trusting. And I'm not saying don't just trust.
Yeah.
But no, it's like,
yeah,
maybe just learn a little bit.
Yeah. Well, just a little caveat.
Yeah.
Like if you're newer in the faith,
yeah,
just focus on reading the Bible. I would say, and if you have time, dig into this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And if it interests you,
yeah,
really, because I don't think everybody. I know a lot of people don't care.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of people really care.
Yeah.
And I think we should care.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it should take over everything in our life. But I also think that, like, if you have the time and it's something that you want to kind of emphasize on so that you know where we got our Bibles that we have today a little more, dig into it.
I think the reason I'm so interested is less about knowing the information to have like this prideful, weird information thing.
Just to know.
I want to know so that if someone comes to me and says, this is the only way that you can understand this, right? In the same way that I studied Calvinism, in the same way that I studied Molinism or Arminianism, right? I want to know what people think, and not necessarily to formulate my opinions, but to know how to discuss things and to see where we come together and where we differ, and if that is a dividing point in our relationship, right?
Yeah.
So I can come to someone who's claiming Calvinism, and I can talk to that person like they're my brother in Christ, because ultimately, they can be mad at me for not understanding the tenets the way that they think that that it's displayed.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we still believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God.
He's the Lord and Savior.
Lord and Savior. He died and he's coming back.
Yeah.
Right? Now, the same way I studied Mormonism and Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah.
Right? Like there is a division there.
Those would be some fun episode ideas.
We'll get there someday.
Yeah, we'll get there.
And we got to see where they differ,
yeah,
so we can see if I can sit down with somebody of that thought process and say, you are my brother, or I'm sorry, you're not.
Yeah, right.
And again, at no point is it done in a way that's supposed to be hurtful or aggressive.
Yeah.
Or I think if we're coming at this in a loud, bravado, aggressive way, we're doing it wrong. Because
come at it with humility.
Yeah.
Really. Because you don't want to push somebody further away.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. It's good. It's good to know these things.
Yeah.
And I mean.
And I don't want anyone listening to think that, oh, they're just doing this so they can attack people. No.
We don't want to attack people.
I want to be able to defend my position if attacked.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
But God is graceful. God is grace-giving.
Yep.
And the only time that he flipped tables is when people were perverting his gospel.
Absolutely.
So I want to be ready.
Yeah.
But I don't want to flip tables that
don't need to be flipped.
Yes.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I saw something recently where they were saying, I see a lot of people compromising and sitting at the tables that Jesus would have flipped.
Yeah.
I don't want to sit at those tables. I want to know where I belong.
Yeah.
So that I can stay away.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're warned to not seek out, things to tickle our ears.
Mm-hmm.
We're told not to follow wolves in sheep's clothing, and we're told to be able to discern. And I think the number one way to be able to discern is to actually read your Bible.
Yeah. Know God's word.
Yeah.
That's all we can do.
Yeah.
Right? We can know what he said. So when someone comes up and says, anything, we can be like, oh yeah, that's right. Or no, that's not right.
Right.
Let's not listen to those people.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Right?
I've seen this guy on social media.
Okay.
He's like the Holy Nope.
Mm-hmm.
You ever seen him?
Mm-hmm.
He's good, man.
I like the Holy Nope. He's
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah. Well, he does. Sometimes he'll do like hope.
Yeah.
And then he'll leave his like door wide open or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a good one. I'll link one of his things in there.
Yes.
Holy Nope.
Okay. So
yeah, let's keep rolling.
we're going to dive into the first one, which is the critical text theory.
Okay.
Or the reasoned eclecticism. Right?
Reason eclecticism.
Yeah, that's a fun thing to say. So
I know it got me too.
I'm sorry, everyone.
No, it's not. I'm just kidding.
There's more in there. Go away.
Yeah.
Sorry. We could cut that out, but we probably won't.
No, we're gonna leave it.
So reasoned eclecticism uses a set of rules to sift through the textual variants.
Okay.
and use that to arrive at what we believe is the original, right?
Okay.
Since rules are fundamental to the philosophy, that's what we're going to look at first, right? We're going to look at the rules and try to understand why their rules are there, and then that'll kind of lead us to where we get the critical text that we have now, right?
Yeah.
So there's a couple different sets of rules. There's two really known people. There's Westcott and Hort, and a land and a land. Okay.
A land and a land.
Mm-hmm. ALAND /E ALAND.
I see that.
Yeah.
They can't, but I can.
Oh yeah.
Maybe I'll put these in the shotes.
You wouldn't. Maybe you will.
Hopefully I do. I'm trying to keep notes so I can get better at that.
So,
yeah.
Westcott and Hort started their business in 1881. Quite a few years ago. That's more than 100 years before I existed.
And yes, me too.
Yeah. So, Brooke Westcott and Fenton Hort published the New Testament in the original Greek, which is the grandfather of the Greek textual critical text that most modern Bibles translate from. Okay. So it's often just called Westcott and Hort, right? So they have a whole list of rules. I have 7 of them here. I think I'm only going to talk about a couple of them because I want to save a little bit of time.
Yeah.
A couple of their big rules: older readings or manuscripts groups should be preferred.
Makes sense.
So the older, the better.
Yeah. Because the closer to the event.
Yes.
Yeah.
When a reading combines 2 simple alternate readings, it's assumed to be later,
right?
Because it's a combination of 2 readings.
Okay.
Therefore, combined readings are less important.
Okay.
Because that tells us that they're not older is better, right?
Right.
So the ones that fit the grammar and context should be preferred. Ones that conform to the style of the author should be confirmed. Like that's kind of an important one, right? Like if you ever go through John seems to talk about love quite a bit, and he has a tone to him that you can feel throughout it.
Same with Paul and even like Luke in Acts.
And Mark is very much like, and then they did this immediately. Then immediately this happened. And then right away they did this, right? Yeah. Like Mark's in a hurry.
Yeah.
And you can just tell who's writing.
His hand's probably getting tired, so he's like, and then they did this, and then they did this, and then they did this.
No, I'm going to bed.
Yeah, and I think Luke's style too.
Yeah.
Because he wrote Luke and Acts.
Yep.
And his writing style, the way he words things, is very similar in both books.
Yeah.
A lot of Paul's writings. Yeah. They're all similar but different at the same time.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, a reading that shows better grammar at the expense of theology is probably not original. The more difficult reading should be preferred because they're not going to make it easy.
Yeah.
They were trying to be correct.
Right.
And one of the ones that I have highlighted here: prefer readings in manuscripts that habitually contain better readings, which is more certain if it's also an older manuscript, and if it doesn't contain combinations of other variants. This also applies to manuscript families.
Okay.
So we talked about the families, right? The Alexandrian, the Byzantine,
and the other one.
Yep.
Whatever.
I'm spacing on it. We'll talk about it again, probably.
Western type.
Yep, Western. So there's 3 big ones.
Yeah.
The 3 big ones: Western, Alexandrian, Byzantine.
Yeah.
So the first rule, big one: older is better. Some people, like the majority text group, they disagree with the older is better.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll talk about that when we talk about the majority text. But because all the oldest manuscripts we found are Alexandrian, most of what we come up with for their reading is basically an Alexandrian text, right?
Okay.
So the Western type that we talked about was famous for paraphrasing, right?
Okay.
Now paraphrasing, right? Westcott and Hort said of the Western text, words and even clauses are changed, omitted, and inserted with surprising freedom wherever it seems that the meaning could be brought out with greater definiteness. Therefore, it shouldn't be surprising that they basically ignored all of the Western type, right?
Yeah.
They rarely used anything that was from a Western text family. And crazy enough, they pretty much entirely ruled out the Western text type, and they're never faulted for that, writing out an entire text type.
Really?
Right? An entire textual family, and people are just like, oh yeah, that's just what they do, right?
Okay.
And now they didn't use the Byzantine readings either, right?
Yeah.
Now we got to go to the third rule that we talked about, right?
Yeah.
A reading that combines two simple alternate readings is later than the two readings in the combination, right?
Okay.
Latter readings are ignored by Westcott and Hort. So the Byzantine was thought at their time to be a combination of Alexandrian and Western. They thought that the Byzantine text was Alexandrian and Western coming together and making their own text and combining what they saw. The scribes had one of each and kind of made it somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
And because they did that, Westcott and Hort was just like, that's Byzantine's gone.
Yeah.
Right?
Don't even consider it.
Yep.
Okay.
Because if the Byzantine text was a combination of Allen and Western, and if the combination manuscripts were always later, and if earlier is better, then the Byzantine should be ignored, right? By their rules, it makes sense why they would ignore it.
Yeah.
So
less authentic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they even said all distinctively Syrian, Byzantine, readings should be ignored at once. It must be at once rejected.
Okay.
And again, in the last 100 years, we've found manuscripts that prove Byzantine text isn't a combination of Western and Alexandrian, but this bias against the Byzantine readings persisted until later, like up until Kurt Aland, which is part of the Aland and Aland.
Yeah.
Right. But even he said that purely or predominantly Byzantine should be irrelevant for textual criticism.
Okay.
So there's a lot of weird weight in there.
Yeah, but it's probably for a different reason.
Yeah, well, we'll see, right?
Yeah.
Again, like what we need to realize is the Westcott and Hort critical text is the grandfather of pretty much every Bible we have, with the exception of King James and New King James, right?
So you're talking NLT, NIV, ESV,
everything.
Except for the
Textus Receptus or the ecclesiastical text.
Okay.
Or confessional.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
The confessional position is King James, Textus Receptus, and things in that family, which is pretty much the predominant ones are King James and New King James.
Yeah.
So,
New King James isn't really much different
than the King James.
Yeah, it's just a little more modern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's based off the same manuscript. So the way we get the different translations is they take a manuscript.
Yeah.
And they have a committee of folks sit down and say, all right, this is what we know about that language. This is what we know about the Greek that's written there. Okay, let's read it and see the best way that we can say this in English.
Yeah.
Right. And depending on the thought process of the translators, right, you have different types. You have word for word, you have thought for thought, and you have paraphrase.
Yeah.
Right?
Didn't mean to do that.
Yeah.
Paraphrase.
Yes.
The message.
Yes. Zoinks.
Yeah.
So we don't want, I don't like paraphrases unless they're really like I'm just kind of reading for fun.
Yeah.
Right. If I'm doing any sort of studying, I like the word for words. And if I'm reading with my kids, I like the thought for thoughts.
Yeah.
Because it's easiest for my kids to understand Paul's writings in the NLT.
What you're saying, Romans 7 is really hard to understand when it's word for word?
Yeah, there's some run-on sentences, and it's a little difficult to get.
The things that I do, I don't want to do, but the things that I don't want to do, that I do, and all the do-dos.
Yes.
And the don't-dos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. First time I read that, I'm like, Paul, you lost me for a second.
Yeah. I read it out loud, and then I went, huh?
Yeah. But the Allen rules.
Yes. So we're going to come to Allen rule.
Yeah.
So we're not going to spend a whole lot of time because we talked about Westcott and Hort, and their rules are
Similar.
kind of similar,
Yeah.
right? But now the Allen rules get their name from Kurt and Barbara Allen, right? Who they made the Nestle-Aland Novum Testamentum Greece, the New Testament in Greek.
Okay.
Is what it's called, right?
All right.
And that happened in 1898, and then it was updated in 1901, and then it's because it's Nestle-Aland, it's NA, and then we're currently, well, as of 2020, they were on NA 28. They've updated it 28 times based on revisions. Now, a big thing, right?
Okay.
They preferred readings in manuscripts that habitually contained better readings, which is more certain if older manuscripts, if it doesn't contain combinations or other variants, right? Kind of ties into that.
Yeah.
This also applies to manuscript families, right? And they had a rule number 6. I'm skipping a whole lot of their rules, right?
I will put the full blog.
Okay.
I'll link it in both of the all 3 of the episodes because it's
Yeah.
going to take 3 to get through this. But
Yeah. They said, however important the early papyri or particular uncial or minuscule may be, there is no single manuscript or group of manuscripts that can be followed mechanically, even though certain combinations of witnesses may deserve a greater degree of confidence than others. Rather, decisions in textual criticism must be worked out afresh, passage by passage. So that's where they differ, right?
okay.
Hort and Westcott, Westcott and Hort, I said that backwards, said, this whole manuscript is older, so that's the one we're going to go. And Allen is like, okay, I get it. This is a decent manuscript.
Yeah.
Let's go with Romans 1 on this one and that one. And then they just compare specific passages and see how the passages line up.
Yeah.
And then they keep the passages passage by passage.
Okay.
Instead of
Whole
manuscript by manuscript, right?
Okay. I get you.
Yeah. So Westcott and Hort preferred to take manuscripts they were deemed more reliable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Early and Alexandrian.
Okay.
And rely on those readings more. However, Allen took the opposite approach, preferring to look at all the evidence in each passage separately. And these philosophies naturally produce slightly different results. But only slightly. That's where I was so blown away, right? So overall, the critical text of the modern Greek New Testament looks a whole lot like Westcott and Hort's, right? What's crazy is the modern 27 and 28, NA 27 and 28, is closer to Westcott and Hort's 1881 than it was to number 25, NA 25.
Yeah. So the more they look at it, they're more like, yeah, maybe those guys were right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool though.
And again, we're talking about less than 1% differences here.
Okay.
Right? That's what we have to keep remembering, right? I know that it says that it's closer to this one from 1800, but not like, guys, we're talking like 30,000 verses, like 1,000 word difference. Like,
yeah.
Like, the goal is we're trying to find the absolute perfection of the autograph of the original, and we're not going to do that.
It's so long ago
Mm-hmm.
that to preserve something like that is very difficult.
Yes.
Plus, like, with how God created everything, it's like, no wonder it's hard to like it's awesome that he's preserved all he's preserved.
Yes.
And we keep finding more.
Mm-hmm.
But like, it's not a surprise that the further along we get, we're still finding more. And like, it's very still 1% different.
Yeah.
Than what we had thought initially. So that's pretty cool.
And that gives me great assurance that even when we're diving into a 50-some page document about how people look at these variants, right? It's not a big deal.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
99% of the Bible is the same, and there is zero doctrinal differences. Don't forget that. I know I keep saying it, but I have to keep telling myself as I'm reading this, like, yeah, older is better. Of course it is. And then we're going to start talking in a little bit. I'm going to reference the 2 big manuscripts that they get, right?
Yeah.
As we get into the methodology of the ecclesiastical text, right?
Mm-hmm.
The earliest text that we have, there's 2 of them.
Okay.
And it's the Codex Vaticanus and the Codex Sinaiticus. Now, those
both sound like medical terms.
Correct.
Just to me.
Yep.
Sinaticus.
You got it.
I pulled my sinaticus.
Yep. Yep. That's why we take Sudafed.
My Vanaticus.
My Vaticanus.
My Vaticanus. Oh.
I have a kid that they were working out one time, and he's like, I think I pulled my abtorals. I was like, oh, you're homeschooled.
That kid's not going into biology.
Nope.
Nope.
Okay, so
all right,
older is better, and the two oldest nearly complete texts that we have,
Vaticanus
was Vaticanus and Sinaticus.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
It makes sense. Now, what we're not going to go into is the way that they were written and the thought process behind those, and how realistically both of those are not very good manuscripts. There's a lot of grammatical errors, there's a lot of silly errors, there's a lot of stuff like that. But
no way.
Yeah, outside of the grammatical errors,
yeah,
we take that as the foundation for it. And I don't know, it made it so clear, right? We have 5,000 plus manuscripts and many smaller fragments. And since we've made the 1881 critical text, we've discovered papyri from the 300s and 200s, and even apparently we've got a couple from the 100s, but just fragments, right?
Wow.
Now, it remains remarkably unchanged.
Yeah.
Since then. But one thing that I thought was cool is that if you see a Bible footnote that says earliest and best manuscripts, say it this way, they are almost certainly talking about these two manuscripts.
Okay.
If you see that, that's what they're talking about. Even though we found older ones since, the weight that is put under them in the critical text mindset is these are the best that we got. And actually somewhere it says no readings of these two can be rejected absolutely.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's not bad that we have something so legitimate.
That they cannot be rejected at all.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. So I had a whole bunch about the history of both of those, and we'll just skip it. If you're going to link the document to this, so if people want to go in and see it, or you can just look up Codex Sinaiticus and Codex Vaticanus, right? One of them's kept in the Vatican, and one of them was found at a monastery near Mount Sinai.
Yeah.
So that's where they got their names.
Hence the name Vaticanus and Sinaiticus.
Real technical, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to skip over that.
Okay.
And this, one of the reasons that they don't do a lot with the Alexandrian text type, right, is some people call it corrupt. Okay. The reason they call it corrupt, is one of the early church fathers, Origen, in the 3rd century, is quoted saying the differences among the manuscripts of the Gospels has become great, either through negligence of some of the copyists or through the perverse audacity of others. They either neglect to check over what they have inscribed, or in the process of checking, they lengthen or shorten as they please. Right? Now that's cited from a book by Bruce Metzger, called The Text of the New Testament. It's Transmission, Corruption, and Restoration.
Okay.
So Origen is speaking of the manuscripts of his location in Alexandria, right? So by the time his admission was, it was 200 AD. They were already corrupt. Like the Alexandrian text was corrupt by then, according to him. Now, Irenaeus in the 2nd century...
That was quick.
Yeah, though not in Alexandria, made similar admission of the state of corruption among New Testament manuscripts. Now, somebody, Daniel Wallace, said Revelation was copied less often than any other book in the New Testament, yet Irenaeus admitted that it was already corrupted within just a few decades of writing the Apocalypse.
Wow.
So there's an argument to be made that Alexandrian type was corrupt very early. It's by no... there's nothing set in stone about that.
Right.
Right. That's the only reason that we don't trust it is because these people so close to the source said, I wouldn't trust it.
Yeah.
Right.
They changed it.
And them being church fathers and trying to do their best. Right.
Mm-hmm.
We should trust it.
Yeah.
But then we got to kind of talk about the shadiness of Westcott and Hort, because they had some questionable beliefs.
What?
Right? There's some evidence that Westcott and Hort didn't have a high opinion of the Bible. Based on quotes, that they didn't take the Bible seriously, literally, and they even endorsed the theory of evolution. So, but to simply say that critical text is bad because of their personal views is problematic.
Right.
Right? While the character of the workers can shed some light on the work, I prefer to judge the work based on its merits and not what the authors might have believed. Right?
Yeah.
And there's more you can read. There's a whole lot on Westcott and Hort. We don't have to go really crazy.
Yeah.
And what Hort thought, and it was motivated to eliminate the Textus Receptus from the public eye, as he considered it vile. I don't know why. He said, I had no idea till the last few weeks of the importance of the text, having read so little Greek Testament and dragged on with the villainous Textus Receptus. Think of the vile Textus Receptus leaning entirely on late MSS, which is a blessing that there are such early ones.
Wow.
That was Hort.
Yeah.
Right. Again, because of his earlier is better philosophy.
Yeah.
The manuscript evidence for the Textus Receptus is much later, and them being in the 1800s, and the Textus Receptus was assembled in the 1500s, and they're like, hey, we got all this stuff from the 200s, 300s, 400s.
Yeah.
And you're going to say this thing from the 1500s is legit? I don't think so, Scooter. I don't quite think he said it like that.
He might have.
I read what he said. So that's not quite it. But so
yeah,
this blog, their conclusion on the critical text is the greatest strength is also its greatest weakness, and that's people and their involvements, right?
I mean, we are sinful.
Yeah, right. There's rules, but the original the rules aren't consulted very often anymore, right? The strong work is still with us, although like all modern Greek texts bear in a very strong resemblance to the 1881 that they assembled, right?
Yeah.
Now, their text was heavily based on Codex Vaticanus and Sinaiticus, and although they're rather flawed, right?
Yeah.
They're also discounted entire Byzantine text type based on an assumption which has now been proven wrong. Despite the Byzantine text type being vindicated by extremely early manuscript findings, there remains a persistent bias against the Byzantine for no apparent reason.
They was just mad.
Yep.
It was like, we denounce it.
Yes. Now,
who knows? They probably had a reason.
Now, to be clear, the theory of reasoned eclecticism is sound. It's the application of it that leaves something to be desired.
Okay.
Now, please don't think that it's awful, right? The author of this article said, the modern critical text is based primarily on two flawed documents without the benefit of findings in the last 140 years. If you could alter the rules or simply remove the bias against the Byzantine text type, reasoned eclecticism stands a very good chance of producing the best results.
Okay.
And again, 1%.
Okay.
Nothing doctrinal changed. So,
just minor things.
Yep.
Okay.
And now we come to the majority text.
All right.
Okay, before we get too carried away.
Yeah.
Majority text is not simply math, right?
Okay.
Critical text, majority text, confessional text.
Yeah.
Those are the three, just for review.
Yeah.
Right? So, majority text starts with a quote from Einstein. Einstein said, everything should be made as simple as possible, but not simpler.
Okay.
The majority text fits that theory to a T.
All right.
It's simplicity itself, but undergirding that simplicity is profound sophistication. It definitely has flaws, but it also has some significant strengths. So what's the methodology, right? The basic premise, pretty easy. Any reading overwhelmingly attested by the manuscript tradition is more likely to be original than its rivals. Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So whenever one reading has more manuscripts supporting it, the other variants, it's more likely to be the original reading. Or to put it another way, majority text method within textual criticism could be called the democratic method. Essentially, each Greek manuscript has one vote, and all variants are voted on by all the manuscripts. Whichever variant has the most votes wins.
Okay. I like that. That's pretty self-explanatory right there.
Yeah. It sounds easy, and there's good mathematical reason and good common sense behind it.
Yeah.
But there's a little more to it than simply counting manuscripts, right?
Yeah.
Real textual criticism is with a set of rules still must be applied.
Right.
You know, not very many scholars would argue that the majority wins all the time. You still need to sift through the manuscripts and apply more careful methodology, and not simply counting them, right?
Yeah.
Note, it'll sound like we're strongly biased in favor of this, in the pro side of the argument, but the guy that wrote this says he's not. It has significant downsides, which we'll look at after, right?
Okay. So the guy who wrote this article,
yes,
he makes a note saying that
he's not nearly as into it as it sounds, right?
Okay.
The pro side of this argument is very compelling.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But he goes on to talk about some things a different way, right?
Yeah.
So several of Paul's letters were encyclical, meaning they were intended to be passed around from church to church. So let's say one of Paul's letters arrives at your church and you're supposed to pass it on. However, you'd like to keep a copy. So you hire a scribe to copy that letter before passing it on. For simplicity's sake, let's assume that the letter went to 5 churches and then is accidentally destroyed. So now you have 5 copies in 5 different locations, but no original. Further, let's assume that each scribe accidentally made a different error while copying, because that happens when copying by hand.
They didn't have copiers and printers, so
correct. Now,
and they weren't all like, PhD wielding, scholars.
Yeah.
So
the odds of all the scribes making the exact same error are ludicrously low.
Yeah.
Now, even if the 2 scribes did, so that's 40%, 2 out of 5.
Yeah.
60% of the scribes still would have preserved the correct reading, right?
Yeah.
So let's say that the 5 original copies each had 5 copies made, all made by faithful scribes. That brings us to 30 total manuscripts, and then we'll assume that the persistence of errors, meaning that faithful scribes will even copy the errors of the previous scribes.
Yeah.
Right? Again, those odds of the scribes making the same errors still vanishingly low. But let's assume that at this point, the intentional corruption enters into the manuscripts that were copied from those 30. Let's say 2 or 3 scribes start making changes to suit their own theological biases.
Yeah.
Bum, bum, bum. Now, under ordinary circumstances, they would never be able to outnumber the scribes who tried to be faithful, right? Unless they were working in concert. The odds of them coming up with identical changes is still minuscule.
Right.
So instead of creating a new popular reading, they're more likely to create several unique readings, and even these are in a small minority. So even in this, the theory goes that given a time span, the readings of the majority manuscripts are most likely to reflect the original.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense,
They're
right?
all very, very similar.
So let's look at this math model, right?
Yeah.
Because some say this math model is wrong, right? So let's say we're copying the shortest book of the New Testament, 3 John. There's 219 words in the Greek in the entire book.
Wow.
Now, it seems like a decent scribe could copy 219 words without messing up, but let's tip this against the majority text, right?
Yeah.
We'll assume that 2 scribes copy correctly and 1 incorrectly. Now, let's further assume the persistence of errors, which assumes that every mistake is copied down to every manuscript and so after it. So each correct manuscript will always spawn 2 more correct manuscripts, but also each incorrect manuscript will spawn 2 more incorrect manuscripts and no correct manuscripts.
Yeah.
So in the first generation, we would have 2 correct copies and 1 incorrect. In the second, we'd have 4 correct copies and 3 incorrect copies. In the third generation, we would have 8 correct and 7 incorrect. And then we'd have 16 correct and 22 incorrect. And in the fifth generation, we'd have 32 correct copies and 60 incorrect copies.
Huh.
So by 5 generations, you have 2-to-1 outnumbered bad copies.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
So it looks like it completely destroys the majority text theory just in that.
I'm with 60 incorrect copies and 32 correct.
Yeah.
It's almost a 2-to-1 ratio.
Yeah. So let's remember that the worst manuscript in the 5th generation has exactly and only 5 mistakes. 1 added every generation.
Yeah.
Only 5 mistakes in 219 words is still pretty good.
Yeah.
And over a quarter, 16 of the incorrect manuscripts will only have a single mistake. So most of these, the rest will have 2 or 3, right?
Yeah.
So if you assume the mistakes are fairly random and distributed, the majority holds up quite well. Remember that 99% of textual variants don't change the meaning even if they are original.
Wow.
Right? Remember, 99%. Been hammering on that this whole time.
1% is what we're talking about.
Yes. Yes. We're not talking about crazy, crazy things, right?
We're talking about 1% variance.
Yep.
99%.
Yep. The same.
Yeah.
Now, this method of disproving the majority text takes an incorrect assumption that errors are tenacious and that errors never disappear but instead are copied down through the generations, which they aren't, right?
Yeah.
We were talking about people that argue things, and in the King James only controversy, author James White said, once a variant reading appears in a manuscript, it doesn't simply go away, it gets copied and ends up in other manuscripts. Now, to support this, White appealed to Kurt and Barbara Allen's similar statement: once a variant in a new reading enters its tradition, it refuses to disappear, persisting, if only for a few manuscripts, and then perpetuating itself through the centuries. Now, one of the most striking traits of the New Testament textual tradition is its tenacity. That's what Aland and Aland said in Text of the New Testament, page 56, according to that source site. But that can be disproved with common sense and just a little bit of data, right? A singular reading is a textual variant that appears in only one manuscript and no other manuscripts whatsoever, right?
Yeah.
So consider the mass evidence against the concept of tenacity. Hundreds of singular readings that appear in ancient manuscripts, but there is no trace in later manuscripts. How many such readings are there? Somebody wrote in a 2013 thesis on singular reading codices: Vaticanus, Sinaiticus, Bezae, Ephraemi, Rescriptus, Washingtonianus of the Gospel of Matthew. So 5 really old manuscripts that I can totally pronounce very well.
Say it with confidence, Adam.
Just stick with it.
Yeah.
So there's singular readings in all 5 of those, right? So in those, right, again, there's a total of 706 singular readings in those 5 documents, right? Vaticanus had 97, Sinaiticus had 163, Bezae had 259.
Wow.
Ephraemi Rescriptus 75, and Washingtonianus had 112. That's a weird word because it's Washington.
You should,
and then it's IANUS. Washingtonianus. Washingtonianus.
Say it with confidence.
Yep.
And move on. That's what James always says.
Yep. And in George Washington, there's 112.
Yeah.
But that's singular readings, right? That means they're not in all the other ones.
Yeah.
Right? If you look at the early papyri, there's even more singular readings. Somebody said that a chart that contains papyrus has 222 significant singular readings. Right? Papyrus 46 has 471. Papyrus 47 has 51. There's so many differences, right? Significant singular readings are defined as those singular readings that remain after the exclusion of nonsense readings and orthographic variants. So the existence of singular readings disproves the myth of tenacity of errors completely. If mistakes were tenacious, there would be very few singular readings. Because these mistakes wouldn't have been passed down to each successive manuscript. But they weren't.
Yeah.
Right? These singular readings disappeared, never to be seen again. Presumably, the scribes didn't keep the errors because they recognized them as errors. And this brings us to one of the strongest arguments for the majority text theory, that scribes preferred the copy better manuscripts. Right?
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense to me, right? This would be called the common sense side of the majority text, and it goes like this. Please imagine that you are a scribe charged with copying the New Testament.
Okay.
Right? Now, assume that you had 2 manuscripts to choose from while copying. One appears to be of mediocre quality and the other of good quality. Which one do you copy?
The one other of good quality.
Yeah. One of the major underpinnings of the majority text theory is that scribes will generally choose to copy better manuscripts over worse manuscripts.
Yep.
Assuming they had more than one to choose from,
right,
they're going to pick the best one.
Well, I mean, just think about that as like if you're getting a car.
Yeah.
Yeah, try to choose the best one you can afford.
Yep. That's what everyone would do.
Or with anything. You choose the better one.
Yep.
Yeah. Common sense.
Now, let's assume that you are in charge of copying the New Testament with several manuscripts to choose from. Say 5 of them. I don't know why I chose that voice to say this. One of them appears to be of poor quality, one of them mediocre quality, and the remaining 3 appear to be of decent quality, and a few small variants aside appear to be very near in perfect agreement. Nearly everyone would choose one of the 3 copies to choose from, or to copy from, or maybe you'd use all 3, using a combination of to correct the small variance between them, right?
Absolutely.
And I do mean near perfect, even according to Westcott and Hort, right? Eminent scholars such as E.C. Caldwell, G.D. Kilpatrick, Kurt and Barbara Allen maintain, respectively, that overwhelming majority of readings, almost all variants, and practically all substantive variants in the New Testament existed before the year 200. Right?
Yeah.
So, if this argument for scribes choosing better manuscripts has parallels from textual criticism of non-biblical works, would you imagine that? Because it's true.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now we're not going to go into a whole lot of this, but there's one of the biggest texts outside of the Bible that we have manuscript evidence for, like multiple manuscripts.
Yeah.
Is the works of Homer.
Okay.
The Iliad and the Odyssey.
Yeah.
Right? Greek poet Homer's works, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, there's a transmissional approach to textual criticism in his work, right? Homer's epic poems proceeds along the same line. Not only do the works have more manuscript evidence than any other piece of classical literature, that's still thousands less than the Bible.
Yeah. Yes.
I want to be very clear that we're saying that they're not on the same level. One has thousands, one have tens, maybe hundreds.
Yes. I think it's in the hundreds, but
yeah,
even at that, it's like they still go through a similar process.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if you look at the parallels, right, the Homeric texts come in 3 forms. There's a shorter one, a longer one, and an in-between one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in the text types of Homer, you have a short Alexandrian reflecting scholarly version, right? It's kind of cut down and it seems harder to read and it's more boom, 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 right? There's a medium one that's widely believed to be the most accurate because it maintained near identical form across thousands of years, and most manuscripts are of this type. And then there's a long one characterized by scribal improvements or expansion. Now, in the New Testament, we have a short Alexandrian text type, a medium Byzantine text type characterized by near identical form over thousands of years, and most manuscripts are this type. And then there's a long paraphrase Western type characterized by its love of paraphrase, like uncontrolled popular text of Homer. Among scholars, there's little dispute that the medium text type of Homer is the original, while the short scholarly version, the long is discarded because of its poor quality. In the New Testament, it's the opposite, though.
Yeah.
Except the discarding of the poor quality of the Western type, the medium Byzantine text is near identical form to the 1,000 years has been ignored, and the shorter Alexandrian type is preferred. Why? Why discard a text type that remained unchanged for nearly 1,000 years? Right? The antiquity of these manuscripts has no indication. I don't know how I lost the word indication.
Brain fart.
Yeah. Sorry, team. It happens. Like the reliability, there's no indication of reliability because prominent church fathers in Alexandria testified that the manuscripts were already corrupt by the 3rd century, right?
Yeah.
Origen said it, right? Either through negligence of some copyists or the perverse audacity of others, they neglect to check over what they have transcribed. In the process of checking, they lengthen or shorten as they please, right?
Yeah.
He's speaking about his manuscripts in Alexandria. So that's 200 AD, right?
Okay.
And we talked about Irenaeus in the 2nd century too, right? Though not in Alexandria, made similar admission about that text type. So to change gears there, you think scribes are more likely to add or subtract?
I could see a reason for both.
Mm-hmm.
I just guessing I would probably say subtract.
Yeah?
Yeah, make it easier on themselves.
So one of the major arguments against the majority text is by those who prefer the critical text is the accusation that scribes added extra content, right? The venerable maxim, lecto brevor, lecto praetor. I don't know. That's Greek. I don't know. The shorter reading is the more probable reading in English, which I speak.
I love it. I love it. We need to get more
Adam reading Greek.
Adam. We could just do a whole podcast of Adam reading Greek.
Yeah. Well, ChatGPT can help us with that.
Yeah.
It's certainly right in many instances, right? But there are principles that cannot be applied mechanically, right? And you may remember both Allen and Westcott, right, had trouble sticking to their rules, the older is better, because they believed scribes were more likely to add content than remove content. Therefore, they said the shorter reading is the more probable reading. But is it? Is the shorter reading more probable? Because when copying by hand, there's a thing called parablesis. It's also called haplography. Haplography. Yep. They're very similar but different, right?
Okay.
It occurs when you're writing words or phrases and they end, like when you're copying and it ends with the same word, and then you skip like a whole section, and then you go, like as you're copying, like, and then the dog said this, and then there's a whole bunch of this, and then the like 6 lines down, it ends with the word this again.
You skip the one,
and you're writing and you're looking back and forth, and then you look back, and then you look back, and then you pick up the line past it, so you skip 3 or 4.
You see this, and then you're like, oh, and then I was at this, and then you keep going, and yeah, that makes sense.
That's something that a lot of people do, and anyone who's ever copied things for school, like if you were from the Stone Age like we are before computers.
In the 1900s.
And you had to handwrite reports. I did stuff like that all the time.
All the time.
Yeah, I didn't know there was a technical term for it. Everyone just called it dyslexia, and we moved on. Because every word problem when I was a kid, that just means you're dyslexic.
Oh,
I didn't even know what that means.
I don't think they did either.
No, they didn't.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it didn't matter what it was. You mix up your words sometimes, you're dyslexic.
Absolutely.
Okay.
No,
we don't need science for that. Just whatever.
Yeah. We got diagnosed with it.
Yeah. And the same thing can happen, right?
Yeah.
In smaller increments too. Like sometimes it's just words, right? And that happened a lot, especially in the old text, because the old text was all capital letter Greek words.
Oh.
So if you had a word that ended on one and the next one picks up on that letter again, that's the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So you can do it in lines or you can do it in words where you skip words because it ends the same way.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
And now, would you say that it happens a lot, right? Sometimes the Codex Sinaiticus is known to do that. Somebody said that there's spots where 10, 20, 30, 40 words are dropped.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, we have enough manuscript evidence to find all of those words in other manuscripts.
To fill them in.
Yeah. So it's, like I said, it's not crazy, but It happens often. So maybe the scribal preference is to add rather than subtract. I don't know. They're certainly not in all cases. There's plenty of variance in all the different types. Why maybe that's why the Alexandrian is shorter, but you can't just say that that's what's going on, right?
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes the author is completely unaware or of any proof that scribes preferred to add rather than subtract, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where is it? Right. Somebody anecdotally, the guy that wrote this said, I've done a fair bit of copying in my life.
Yeah.
And when I'm quoting someone else, I've never been tempted to add to the quote because it would be dishonest.
Mm.
And it's not a stretch to imagine that Christian scribes would feel the same about Scripture.
Right. I mean, could you imagine having to be a scribe?
Yeah.
And copying something that you know is a divine revelation,
and then changing something, and then later getting to that part about the jot and the tittle not being changed, and then being like, "Oops, I did that.
My bad, bro."
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't. I'd feel it'd be terrible.
Yeah. So, a majority of what manuscripts, right? Because there's some arguments against the majority text. Okay. And I know we're running a little bit later than we want to, but
sorry, dudes.
Yeah.
And chicks.
And I really didn't want to get too far.
Dogs.
But there's a whole lot of argument against the majority text that I wanted to get to.
Well, if you want, we can pick this up in the next episode.
Yeah.
You want to do that?
Yeah, let's do that. Just to save you guys.
Yeah.
We'll get the arguments against the majority text, and then we'll get to the confessional.
Yeah, I think that's good.
We'll get there.
I think that'll be fun.
Yeah.
It'll be so much fun. And like I said, guys, wow, I just totally randomly just busted out in song. But yeah, guys, we'll post the full 40 some page was it 47 page?
57.
57. We'll post the full 57 page blog and paper or whatever, and then we can also include Adam's not 57 page one.
Oh, it's not much shorter. I got most of it, and I'm just skimming it.
Yeah. So
I did this really technical thing where I cut out the stuff that I knew I wasn't going to read, and then I left everything else and just kind of skim it.
Yeah, you go through
and then talk about it as I skim it.
If you guys think that we're going into super detail about this, there's even more.
Yeah.
It's wild to me, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even know a fraction of this.
Yeah.
It's crazy to see how these Bibles in a I hate to use the word evolved, but came to us, how they got to us. So, we'll stop this one. We'll pick it up next episode.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, because I got like 7 more pages of nonsense.
Yeah.
I don't want to say nonsense. Of rambling about very important things that a lot of people don't care about.
But a lot of people do. So.
And I hope I'm not speaking over your head. If you, I don't know how to say it. If you want more information, but also less information at the same time, we could probably find YouTube videos that describe this stuff in 10 minutes.
Also,
but you're going to miss out on a lot of context of it.
A guy you could follow closely would be Wes.
Oh, Wes Huff.
He's got a lot of good stuff out there.
He's really good at what he does.
He knows this stuff. I mean, he's literally touched copies.
Yeah.
Papyrus.
Yeah.
All the things.
Yeah.
So, just want to say thanks, guys, for listening.
Yes.
We appreciate the support. Sorry we haven't been super consistent.
I mean,
we're trying to figure it out.
It's a busy world that we live in, and
we're a 2-guy show here, so
yeah, we don't have editors. We don't have anything. Well, we have an editor, and it's him.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a bum. I just show up and talk.
Yeah, but we appreciate you guys tuning in. So next episode we'll finish out.
Hopefully the rest of this document, and then we can move on to something.
Well, we're hoping
more entertaining.
We'll do this one. We might release. We're planning on having a guest.
Yeah.
Not sure who yet, but you guys will find out. We'll probably just sprinkle that one in somewhere.
Just toss it out there.
Yeah, just so we get some more stuff out there. Yeah.
Like a grenade. Yeah.
So, we'll post that one, and then we did not forget your questions from Praisefest.
Nope, we didn't.
We have them. We plan on tackling those right after this.
Yes.
So we've got one more episode talking about textual criticism, and then we'll jump into. We'll do like rapid fire questions, kind of. So maybe you take half of them, I'll take half of them.
Yeah, that sounds good.
We'll just kind of go at them, and we'll just answer what everybody says. Because I know there was one like we haven't talked about Charlie Kirk, and there was a question about that. There was a question about, there was one about sin. There was one about hermaphrodites.
Ooh,
yeah, which is an interesting topic.
Yeah, that's a real thing to talk about, though.
Yeah, because I think the way it's worded is really good too. There's also one about paraphrase Bibles.
Ooh.
So after going through this, I think you should take that question.
All right. Yeah, I don't know anything about Bibles manuscript though.
I think he said the guy asked, I'd met him there, and he was asking about, what are our thoughts on like the Message Bible, and my initial thought was like garbage.
Yeah, so I got a thumbs down for it.
It's about as good as the Gen Z Bible.
Yeah,
garbage. So, thanks guys for tuning in. We really appreciate it.
Whatever the peace sign is.
Whatever the peace sign is. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you for support.
Yeah. I prayed on the way in. You want to pray on the way out?
I'll pray on the way out.
Okay.
All right.
And then we'll see you guys later.
We'll see you guys later. All right. Dear Lord, I just want to thank you for today. God, thank you for your word. Lord, as we figure out just the ways that it's been interpreted, Lord, just guide us and show us that your word has remained the same and kept the same meaning for, the thousands of years that we've had it, God. So next, I'd like to pray that you just be with us as we continue through our weeks and as we continue on this journey to help spread your truth. Lord, I pray for anybody out there who has any unspoken requests, Lord. Let it be known, and if they want more specific prayer, send them our way, God. Lord, and I pray that you just continue to work in the ways that you're working, Lord. You're so good at what you do, God. We are so bad at what we do. And the only way we can be good is with you. So Lord, just thank you. We love you. And it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Cool.